So for today's video, we talked about Honduras. We had to watch a video from Fault Lines about it and then also do some reading regarding both the video and the reading. There were three questions that we had to answer, which were, what are the politics of frontier making based upon? How is progress defined? And how is extra activism affecting the communities in Honduras as we see it in the Fault Lines documentary? So first off, regarding the politics regarding all three of these questions, they're very interconnected from what I've watched in the video as well as what I've read. It was kind of nebulous figuring out what information went with what question, but essentially the politics of the frontier was that indigenous communities and the way that they were working the land was seen as like underutilizing the land and was seen as backward steps from modernity as well as progress. So a lot of that land was taken from them, and a lot of that land was privatized, and instead of each individual having a small parcel of land like some activists believe that they should, a lot of big corporations, especially foreign corporations, kind of swooped in and took that land and privatized it and individually owned it. And so a lot of native land as well as land that was previously owned by not only indigenous people but also Black folks was taken and turned into tourism sites, as well as turned into extra activism like mining and dams. And a lot of foreign powers and investors, like the United States, for example, and the European Union, came into the region to build and manage areas of Honduras with the government's approval to do so. The progress in Honduras was definitely defined from what I saw in not only the video as well as in the reading, but it was defined by essentially taking those indigenous people and their spheres and going and getting them out of there, whether it be removing them from the land or removing them from the land and also killing them. Like elimination was one of the things that they, especially it was mentioned in the reading quite a bit, that they really kind of like it was the option that they chose more rather than instead of suing people or just bulldozing over them and their communities, they ended up actually killing activists that spoke out. Like in the documentary, I believe her name was Bertus, and she spoke out a lot about the dam that they tried to build in her community, a Chinese organization in collaboration with the Honduras government, to which she and another woman went and created an organization to go against them, and then Bertus ended up going and being killed by several people that had to do with the company as well as several people that had to do with the government because of her willingness to protect community as well as protect a sacred river that was a great part of their community as well as their culture. And the dam would have greatly affected both of those things, but the government didn't care and just wanted to, utilize the land in the best way and get all that foreign involvement in to better, help out the country. Regarding extra activism and the Fault Line documentary, kind of that third question, extra activism is destroying communities in Honduras. Like that's just, it's an unalienable fact. And indigenous communities are being trampled on by foreign and corporate interests. Activists are trying their very best to protect their land, the environment, as well as indigenous communities, but they're being killed by these different groups, like I mentioned with Bertus, and those groups are trying to disrupt or even take the land in collaboration with the government. And it's just kind of, frankly, my own opinion, it's extremely saddening and extremely angering. Like I know currently there's a lot going on with protests in America that have now spread all over the world regarding Black folks and Black Lives Matter, and just thinking about indigenous communities and all that those folks have to go through, especially in countries where the United States, like I know it mentioned over and over and over again in the documentary, the United States is a big portion of that, and also the European Union, even to the point where the government of Honduras, when it came to prosecuting the people that killed Bertus, they said, oh, the European Union's with us, the United States is with us, Canada's with us. Why can't we just go and do this within the government? To which the interviewer said, oh, well, they want an independent, like the case to be looked at independently by a different country, someone that's not involved in this, just because of what you guys are known to do. And frankly, it's just extremely upsetting and disheartening that a lot of folks are having to go through this, especially like indigenous communities where they've already lost so much land, they've already lost so much of their people from foreign diseases and also from, conquests and warfare and destabilizing governments. And yet they keep over and over and over again being attacked through not only legislation, but also from foreign powers and from private landowners. Like I know it was mentioned that there was a palm oil company in the documentary that essentially this one man, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, wanted to protect his little parcel of land and guarantee that everyone in the community had a little parcel of land. But these folks that were backed by foreign governments and were backed by Honduras and were very affluent and wealthy didn't want that. They wanted, all the land to themselves so they can further cultivate it and, bring it to modern to go and essentially utilize it in the best way possible, stripping the land of all the nutrients and things that actually, make the land worth cultivating just for, their own selfish economic interests. And this man just disappeared one day, and it turns out that one of the guards on the plantation killed him, and he spoke up and spoke out for his people and his community. And it's just so disheartening to go and see all that and read about all of that, especially during a climate like this where there's all these protests going on and people are still fighting for their rights that they have every right to be honest. So I know I was very upset watching and also reading the article. I know a couple times my family actually came upstairs and was like, "Are you okay? You're yelling at your computer." But that was essentially the three questions, a little bit kind of merged in with each other, as well as a little bit with my own opinion regarding the Fault Lines documentary and the reading we had to do.